don't even know what this song is. I've just pressed play on any random pish on Epidemic. Oh, little clean guitar number there, lovely. That was too fucking slow. I'm not going to lie, this is actually a pretty good fucking song. I really do quite like this tune. It's a banger. It's overstayed its welcome. Oh, it's time to rock and roll here. Time's at a premium tonight. Aye. Well, hello and welcome into this Wednesday's entertainment news. I am Jonathan, here to discuss the latest happenings in the world of Hollywood film, and also at the end of this show, video games, and one particular video game which I did not realise existed until 3 days ago. And my, does it look interesting, to say the least. But look, headline in the show, as I say, time is at a premium tonight. My dog he's not had a walk yet, and his bowels will be a grumbling. And if you've ever owned a Labrador or any canine, you'll realise that when their bowels are a grumbling, oh my, it is not good. It is not good at all. So we're going to get right into this. The Marvels Runtime reportedly revealed, I have to stress, reported in inverted commas, I didn't have space for reported, so I just says it's been revealed. I probably did have space, but I decided to put, and it's short, because it is. It's very short indeed. In fact, it is the shortest Marvel movie ever made, if this runtime is correct. I'm going to bring this up. This is the article. It's coming in from MovieWeb. That's not as good as my thumbnail. I have to tell you, the thumbnail I put together shits all over the top of that. And look, I have to stress, little sort of disclaimer, I did not create the artwork in the thumbnail. It was someone else. I don't know who, but I'm kind of giving them credit for it now. It was a lovely piece of artwork. I made it better though by sizing her up and giving her a little bit more prominence. This is Carol Danvers. It's the Marvels, but she really is the Marvel in the Marvels, isn't she? Really, Captain Marvel. But as you can see here, the Marvels will bring together, yes, it will bring together Brie Larson, Teyonah Parris, and Iman Vellani as Carol Danvers, Monica Rambeau, and Kamala Khan. I'm looking forward to this movie. I have to say I wasn't maybe a year ago. I wasn't probably even a month ago. But then I seen the trailer, and I really did dig what they were doing with the story, the way that, and I believe it's Nia DaCosta who's directed this movie, the way that she has structured the characters in the movie, the powers influence each other. Carol Danvers uses her powers, it influences Monica Rambeau, in turn influences Kamala Khan. I think that's a really cool sort of construct to create in a movie like this. And I says the last time I spoke about it, it conjured up images of the recent Jumanji movies where you've got characters being taken out of their comfort zone, being confronted with a different sort of sandbox, put in different bodies. That's not happening here, but the powers, they're doing things with the powers, and I quite like what they're doing. You've got Samuel back as Nick Fury. What more do you fucking want? But look, that's not what I'm here to discuss. I'm here to discuss the running time, and as you can see here, the latest rumour to hit the internet, courtesy of Cryptic HD Quality. That sounds like a really reputable source. Who's not heard of Cryptic HD Quality? You know, I'm going to go in and click on Cryptic HD Quality right now. It's on Twitter or X. Can we get it to load? No, we can't. I've got a fucking 500 down internet connection. 100 up. I can't load Twitter. Brilliant, isn't it? Just great. But I digress. The same supplier of early information on the runtimes of a number of Disney Plus shows, so they've got previous to be fair, including Ahsoka, is that the Marvels will deliver an all-killer, no-filler story in a paltry 93 minutes. That's quite it's quite aggressive language to be using to describe a creative decision to make the movie shorter. A paltry, as if we're being robbed out of something that's a paltry serving. That chicken was paltry. It's really fucking strange choice of word there. But look, I digress. To put this in context, the shortest MCU movie is currently a tie between The Incredible Hulk and For the Dark World, which both came in at 112 minutes. Significantly shorter. My very quick arithmetic is telling me that it's about 15, fucking terrible arithmetic is telling me how much shorter is it? I'm fucking dreadful at maths. I really am. 19 minutes, 29 minutes shorter? I don't know. The mathematicians out there can let me know. I shouldn't do that myself. I'm usually very good at mental arithmetic, but I've got a camera in front of me and two unbelievably bright lights. Don't do that again to yourself, John. It's shorter. Well, the Marvel's official time is yet to be released, and there could be some tweaks to be made to the final length. Doubtful. It does look like the movie is going to be the shortest of the franchise by some way. Look, I'm not averse to this. I think this is a good thing. This is an indication that the director... Oh, there's the intro again. An indication that the director, Nia DaCosta, has had a creative vision, and she has set about delivering it in the tautest manner possible, the shortest manner possible. Not writing an article here, I'm actually speaking. Why would I use the word taut? I don't know, I've done it now. There's nothing wrong with a short movie. If the story can be told in 93 minutes, then it should be told in 93 minutes. An hour and a half is fucking decent. You go in the theatres, you get your popcorn, you rattle it, you drink your accompanying drink, and you watch some hardcore Marvel goodness, and it's an ensemble movie. Let's be honest, we've got three, I wouldn't say prominent characters, we've got one prominent character and two interesting sidekicks. And look, I'm going to get into the villain. The villain's been changed, that's clear. But I'm looking forward to it, man. I like what they're doing with the story. I like the fact the running time's shorter. Not every movie has to be 2.5, 3 hours long. This has been a trend in recent times, and we've seen it have some negative impacts on sort of audience's enjoyment of said movies. Some movies are too fucking long. Way too long, and they feel long. I'm looking at you, James Cameron, with Avatar, The Way of the Water, or The Way of Water. It was, I think, 3 hours and 10 minutes long. Could have easily have shaved a half hour off that movie, and you wouldn't have lost anything. I respect directors, creative people who know they've got a story to tell, and they just get in and tell it, and fuck the actual running time. It's not really important. Look, what the fuck have I done? I need to get a Stream Deck back up and working here. I'm using my mouse and I'm clicking on things and it's just not working. The likes of George Lucas back in the day always spoke about the holy grail, the Shangri-La of filmmaking being the 2 hour running time. The 2 hour mark being the perfect running time. I can't even speak English. I made one mistake and I went off a cliff. That was always what they were grasping to achieve, to be able to tell a story in roughly about 2 hours. You could maybe argue that an hour and a half's a bit short. That's usually the range that you would have a horror movie floating around in a Blumhouse sort of siege horror movie. Hush, something like that would be about an hour and a half. Maybe not something that's balls to the wall action like this. But again, the argument is there that we've seen Monica Rambeau in WandaVision. We've seen Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, in her own TV show. We've seen Carol Danvers in multiple iterations now, multiple films. And we've seen Nick Fury doing his Fang. We've got Secret Invasion out there. There's been enough backstory delivered that we don't have to weigh down the movie with introductions and with backstories. We can just go straight in and tell the story that's happening in this movie. And that then enables you to bring the running time down. So I've got no fucking issues with it whatsoever. Getting on to this villain though, Dar-Ben. And as you can see here, clearly a male, clearly a man. He was a big man as well. A big, brooding, imposing man, no less. But he's a female in the movie. And look, that's fine. Nia DaCosta, Brie Larson also got together, made some creative decisions. They wanted to change up the actual sex of the character. And look, it's their decision. It's their movie. They'll live and die by it. And to be fair, I was speaking about that the last time, that it did deviate from the actual comic lore. I didn't realise it was the actual gender, but that's neither here nor there. And look, by all accounts, an accuser. I didn't know much about this villain when I last spoke about the movie. The trailer didn't really dive in deep on anything, least of all the actual villain. But part of the Kree Skrull War, I think it's a Kree soldier. He's an accuser, much like this guy here, incidentally. Your man Ronan, the accuser. And look, I'm just looking at them. I know that's a comic. I've seen the actual trailer. They're not getting near this man here. They're just not. What a fucking villain he was. He really was special. When you actually think back to Guardians of the Galaxy, they had this guy as the villain. I know he was getting involved in dance-offs at the end of the movie and it was fucking silly at times, but look how imposing this guy is. Look at the shoulders, look at the traps, look at the neck, look at the makeup. Just an unbelievable villain. Even if you were to make that character male, I don't think you're getting into the same ballpark as this. But I found it interesting that it was an accuser. They are tapping into this whole Kree Skrull shenanigans again. And look, I've readily admitted I have not watched Secret Invasion, and I have got no intentions of watching Secret Invasion. Will I miss things in this movie as a result of not watching Secret Invasion? Most certainly. I'm still not watching Secret Invasion. I've heard nothing but bad things about that TV show. I'm looking forward to this fucking movie. I'm looking forward to the Marvels, nonetheless. And I would never have thought that would be the case even a month ago, because I just find that character beige. She's okay. Again, she was okay in WandaVision, but she wasn't the main attraction, was she? It was Wanda Maximoff in this weird albino gonk version of Vision, where he was going to get the memories back and become Vision. It wasn't Monica Rambeau. But I'm now really looking forward to it. Some of the creative decisions that have been made with the story, and just the fact they're keeping it short. That makes me slightly more intrigued by what we're getting for this actual movie. I am furiously trying to bring up OBS, which is hidden behind 3 different things, no less. A fucking shambles is my PC, my setup when I'm doing these shows. I can't even tell you. We've got Razer Spotlight coming up. I don't need it. I've got a fucking physical spotlight right beside me, burning my irises, my retinas as we speaketh. But look, man, it's short. It's the shortest ever. I was going to bring up a whole list of Marvel runtimes, and to be honest with you, I can't really be buggered with it. As you see, it's time for Dark World and The Incredible Hulk. They were both singular kind of stories, singular characters. They weren't ensemble by any means. For the Dark World was a deeply pish movie, and I'm trying to choose my adjectives carefully there, and I can't really think of a better word to describe how bad For the Dark World was. It was a really, really poor movie, man. I watched it on a plane going on holiday, and it just bored me senseless to the point where I actually preferred looking out the window at clouds going by the actual window of the plane. It was a terrible movie, not the best comparison. Incredible Hulk, to this day, actually a movie I really enjoy, one of my favourite Marvel movies. I'd rate it quite high up. Obviously it was your man, I always blanking his name, not Eric Bana, the other guy, the guy who was in the Heist movie back in the day. I'm blanking on his name, it doesn't matter. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the story, the Abomination in there. It was short, sweet, packed a punch. You could compare it to all the different Marvel movies over the years, fucking 2-hour movies, 2.5-hour movies. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. The director and the creative team behind this movie have had a vision and they've managed to tell it in an hour and 30 minutes. God bless them. I'm looking forward to it. I'm moving on though to the next topic. Not one I thought I'd have ever been speaking about on this show, to be honest with you. A franchise which sort of bit the bullet 12 years ago, 2011. I remember it well, the premiere in London. Watching it and getting quite touched, emotionally touched by, obviously, fucking end of an era for these characters. Sort of Emma Watson, Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, Tom Felton, the whole gang there, waving goodbye. And it was sad. I loved the Harry Potter movies growing up. I was the sort of target demographic. I was roughly about 9-10 years of age when the books hit. Also the movies came out. I was right in that range. But it's been gone for like over a decade now. So I was slightly surprised to see Bonnie Wright, no less, coming out and discussing criticism that she received playing Ginny Weasley in movies. The absolute latest came out 12, 13 years ago. But she has been out speaking about it. And I thought it was intriguing. And I'm going to actually go in and read it if I can bring up the web capture, and I have now. Bonnie Wright, she's been out speaking about this as well. I'm going to touch on this very briefly too, because this is something that's intrigued me. I've not actually read this book. I know it's like a play for a West End production, but I'd actually be for this, seeing this. The kids of the sort of Harry Potter gang floating about Hogwarts. A new threat, just the weight, the sort of legacy of also their parents weighing down on them. Seeing a new era of stories. Why did J.K. Rowling and the creative at Warner Brothers not go down that route instead of Fantastic Beasts? Where there's a huge disconnect of 80 years, 100 years. And you're talking about Newt Scamander and Gellert Grindelwald. Stories that have already been told, and I mean they've reached their natural conclusion. Why would they go back and do that instead of actually telling an open-ended story with a young cast who will get longevity, just like the actual Harry Potter movies from the early 2000s, late 90s, whenever it was, 2001. Strange decision, and I'd actually before seen this being a sort of foundation to kick on with a new franchise, because we're not going to get these guys coming back, let's be honest, to continue the story. So you just reboot it, new characters, and move merrily onwards. I just can't see any way in which Daniel Radcliffe ever returns to play Harry Potter. I just can't see it. He's moved on spiritually and physically. He is a different man now. And typecasted actors don't usually want to go back unless they're old, grey and grossly overweight. and I've got nothing else coming in. So we may have to wait a while. So I'd be for it. I'm actually going to talk about this briefly before I speak about her the criticism of her and her responding to it. This is what she had to say. I'm pretty sure it was Bonnie Wright. The biggest cast question everyone wants to know is if they're going to be making a TV film version of it. I don't know. It would be pretty fun because it's really about the children. It's not about our characters. So it wouldn't be a massive role. It would really be about these kids in the new generation. It would be fun, but I have no idea if they'll do it. I think they should do it. In fact, there's parts 1 and parts 2. You've got enough meat in the bones to do something interesting with that story. And as Bonnie Wright did say, play the parents. So they could, if they did come back, they'd be in about 5 minutes of runtime, and then the kids would go to Hogwarts, and you'd not see them again until the end of the movie, if indeed at all. But yeah, Bonnie Wright, she's been out speaking about criticism in regards to her performance. Inside of You podcast. It's a strange name for a podcast, Inside of You. I know what they mean. The inside of you, picking your brains and finding out what makes you tick, but it's a bit fucking strange, isn't it? Inside of you. She spoke about the pressures she felt being part of the saga and what happened to her character, and this is what she said. I definitely feel there was anxiety towards performing and doing the best thing as my character Bolt, for instance, and doing the best thing as my character Bolt, for instance. That's strange English to me, but we'll go with it. Like, oh gosh, will I do justice to this character that people love? So that was always hard to do, especially when inevitably a lot of the scenes of every character were chopped down from the book to the film. She didn't really have as much to show in the film. Sometimes that was a little disappointing because there were parts of the character that just didn't come through because they weren't the scenes to do that. That made me feel a bit anxious or just frustrated, I guess. And it doesn't help when your character, in this instance, has got an enormous crush on the protagonist of the entire story and refuses to speak around said protagonist who you are following around in the story for much of the actual books and indeed the films. So if you've got a sort of cat catching your tongue, is that the right phrase? I don't even know. Fucking terrible with phrases. If you're becoming a mute every time you see Harry Potter and it's a Harry Potter movie, that's a fucking problem. And that was what really punctuated Ginny Weasley's relationship with Harry in the early books. She was like a rabbit in the headlights, froze every time she seen him, barely uttered a word. And how do you actually adapt that to an actual movie and have an actor come in and perform it? No less a very young actor. And Bonnie Wright at that time, I think she'd have been about 8 or 9. It's a very difficult thing to convey to a veteran actor and have that done justice, let alone a young, up-and-coming 8-9-year-old actress. But I thought she did a brilliant job. I don't really get the criticisms of the character. There was elements of the story that were changed. I have read the books numerous times, but I thought Bonnie Wright did a great job, as indeed all the young cast did, in bringing the characters to life. One of my favourite Harry Potter movies is the Half-Blood Prince. And a lot of the Half-Blood Prince's interesting elements are the actual romance, the back and forth, Harry, Ginny, Ron, and obviously Hermione. Just the sort of blossoming romantic elements of these characters, and she was a big part of Half-Blood Prince. Just the atmospheric stuff as well was something I enjoyed. Hello, how you doing? I can't really read your name because I'm being blinded. There's an incredibly fucking bright light over there. Shlock Maheshwari, hello. Welcome in, my man. Yeah, I don't understand the criticism of Bonnie Wright. I thought she did a fine job. Is she one of the best thespians on the planet? No, she is not. You could argue none of the young cast really are. Domhnall Gleeson was in there, he wasn't one of the young cast. Tom Felton's went on to have a decent career. Rupert Grint is blossoming into a fine actor. Emma Watson's on a hiatus from acting just now. And Daniel Radcliffe, he's done lots of West End, Broadway productions. I think he's a great actor. Loved him in Swiss Army Man and a couple of other ones. Obviously, Weird Al Yankovic, I think he's doing as well. So he's turned into a brilliant actor. But at that point, they were very wooden at times. They were stiff. They weren't at their absolute A game. And they were working alongside fucking royalty, British royalty in terms of acting. Alan Rickman, Maggie Smith. I was about to say Richard Harris, but I think he was Irish. Michael Gambon, just Gary Oldman, David Thewlis. The list is literally endless. Imelda Staunton. Judi Dench, unbelievable actors. Even your man who played, oh God, what's he always forget? It doesn't matter. He was in Half-Blood Prince, played the Professor. Slugbuff. I can't remember who plays him. He does the Aldi adverts for Christmas. He's got one of the greatest voices ever. Who's who of British acting royalty? And these young people were having to come in and deliver performances as they were growing up in front of a camera. I think it's fucking harsh. I think she done a brilliant job, Bonnie. And yeah, hopefully that Cursed Child movie gets adapted. Or the actual screenplay production gets adapted to film. I'd love to see it. I think there's still enough interest in Harry Potter for people to turn up to theatres and see good films. And sadly, that's something we've been lacking in the Fantastic Beasts franchise, is just good films. So I'd like to see that happen. I want to see the future generations. I'm moving on though to the next topic. It is Scorsese and DiCaprio. Leo DiCaprio. They're starring again together in another movie. What's the runtime for the Marvels? It's 93 minutes long. Schlock. 93 minutes. An hour and a half. That is the reported runtime. Very short. But I think it's a sort of signifier of a good thing, not a bad thing. You could say it's an hour and a half long. That's a bad thing. I go the opposite way. I like to remain glass half full and say that director, the actors have got a creative vision. They've got the backstories out the way in the TV shows and previous movies. And we can then just get right into the story that we're telling. And that does not necessitate a long runtime. So they've kept it short. All frills, no something. I think they actually said the phrase, and I like the phrase. I'm going to go back to that article and read it. Described as, and I quote, all killer, no filler. That's good enough for me. I like the look of this film, man. I like the look of the script. I think it looks very interesting what they're doing with the characters, just the way they're constructing the story, and the fact the actual runtime's as short as it is. That's another Brucey bonus. Not every movie has to be 3 hours long in 2023, although some of the directors out there would disagree. I have low expectations, so do I, mate, but I've seen the trailer. I actually wasn't looking forward to it, but I watched the trailer and I actually quite liked the trailer. I liked the vibe of the trailer, so it's kind of changed my mind a bit, but we'll find out when I actually go in and watch it, because I've kind of renewed my love for Marvel after watching Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Really, really enjoyed that movie. And you know what? I like to talk shit about Marvel in these most recent phases, but when I actually break it down, I've seen Spider-Man No Way Home and I fucking loved it. I've seen Shang-Chi and I fucking loved it. I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and I've loved it. Of the TV shows, I've loved WandaVision. I've loved Loki. I enjoyed Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Moon Knight's meant to be very good. I've not seen it. I've not seen Miss Marvel. And I've not seen Secret Invasion, so I can't really speak about them. But they've actually got a decent hit rate for me. So I don't know why I'm chatting shit. I've yet to see Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Apparently it's not bad. It's not great. So I've got high hopes. Low expectations, but high hopes for that movie. But yeah, DiCaprio, Scorsese, working together again. I find this a very interesting... Obviously, I was going to say companionship. It's not a companionship, is it? What would you say? A very interesting duo. That's the best I can come up with just now. That's the best I can come up with. I can't come up with anything better. Also, when these guys have worked together, there's usually magic ensued. I think of Shutter Island off the top of my head. Killers of the Flower Moon looks very interesting. FBI sort of stealing oil from the reserves. I think that's what you call them. Native American, what do you call the regions that they actually are given? They shouldn't be given, it's actually their land, but when America was obviously broken up into states, they were given a piece of land. Criminality, corruption, very intriguing, looking forward to seeing it on a streamer, no less, but yeah man, really looking forward to this. Look at that fucking shot, brilliant. The actual synopsis is what wetted my whistle for this, I'm not going to lie. I just love the title as well, The Wager. It's short and sweet. This is something that Scorsese's done. When I actually think about it, kept the titles of his movies pretty fucking succinct. Obviously, Killers of the Flower Moon that I've just mentioned, an example of not keeping things succinct. very long and fucking winded. But when you think about it, man, I mean, I'd have to bring up his actual filmography and think off the top of my head all the movies he's done, but over the years, I'm pretty damn sure, and I'm going to do that. Fuck it. I'm going to do that right now. Over the years, I'm pretty damn sure this guy's kept his movie titles very short. I may be talking pish. I sincerely hope I'm not. Martin Scorsese, hit me with it, bitch. Let's go. Goodfellas, Taxi Driver, The Irishman, Shutter Island, also The Wolf of Wall Street. I'm claiming that. That's succinct. Silence, Mean Streets. They're all pretty succinct. They're short and sweet, straight to the point. We're not getting into actual fucking prejudice. It doesn't matter. Needless to say, I like the title of the movie. Let's get back to the actual web capture here, and I'm going to break down the synopsis and why I think it's very exciting and why it's the perfect movie for DiCaprio. When I think of Leo, I think of all the great movies he's done. You think of where he actually got his first Academy Award win, and it was a period piece with a bit of violence in there. A character who'd been tortured and went through the ring. I'm going to finish that word. Late, the ringer, the emotional ringer. This has got all the signs for that being the case for whatever character it is he's playing. I presume he'll be one of the people. Yeah, we'll read it and I'll get into it. Set in the 1740s, Wager's story is set in motion when a patched together boat with 30 emaciated men landed on the coast of Brazil. And it's based on David Grant's book, The Wager, a tale of shipwreck, mutiny and murder. I'm going to read that. I find this story very intriguing indeed. The men were the surviving crew of British... This is fucking butchered, horrendous English. Let's go back and I'll fill in the gaps, shall I? The men were the surviving crew of a British ship that was chasing a Spanish vessel and had crashed onto an island in South America's Patagonia region. Their tales of surviving the seas and elements made them heroes. However, 6 months later, another vessel, even more beat up than the first one, ended up on the coast of Chile. This one with 3 men. These new sailors charged that the other men were actually mutineers. Now, I think that's fascinating, man. You've got mystery, you've got suspense, you've got the whole lexicon of human emotion, the exhilaration, the elation of coming onto land after being potentially in the throes of death, marooned out in sea. You're a hero. You've got the world at your feet. People are celebrating you. You've been given a new lease of life. And then like a year later, some raggedy arse, 6 months later, a raggedy arse ship turns up on the coast and your whole world is turned upside down. You can just sense it, can't you? You can sense the cast. You can sense Scorsese working his magic on this movie. And Leo, no doubt, playing one of the... I mean, I don't even know what would he be on the first boat? And he's one of the sort of leaders of that who's led this mutiny? Or is he on the other boat and coming back from an even greater peril and another fucking horrendous situation and casting sort of accusatory sort of glances and words at these other guys? I don't know, man. I don't know who he would play, but I'm fucking excited to see Leo performing alongside Scorsese again. As I say, magic usually ensues when these two guys get together. It's period piece, man. It's about shipwrecks. What more do you want in your life? You know Shah Rukh Khan, I certainly do, Schlock. We watched Patan recently. First movie we've seen of Shah Rukh's. We're actually going to dive down his filmography once we can actually get back to putting content like that on the channel. And I'm looking forward to Jawan. I think it looks very intriguing. The trailers have got a whole host of shit going on in them. Really interesting sort of character. He seems to have multi-personalities going on. We spoke about the actual poster that was released the other day. It's like 5 different versions of the Shah Rukh character. It looks interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing that movie as well. Shah Rukh's class. He's a brilliant guy, charismatic, incredible guy. Really sort of inspirational geezer. So yeah, I do know Shah Rukh. I think everyone knows Shah Rukh, let's be honest. The world knows of Shah Rukh. Yeah, man, I grew up watching these sort of fucking movies. I loved even like the Master and Commander, the other side or the far side of the world. I love movies set in this period. It's a large part of why I love the Pirates movies. I know they're not going to be in the same ballpark as this. This is not going to be sort of fluffy, laugh a minute kind of movie with Johnny Depp playing his weird ass fucking overacted character at the centre of it. That's not what you're going to get. But the point I'm making is I love that period. I was always obsessed with the piracy period, the Caribbean, all of the shit that was going on. The fact that there was these pish-stained geezers coming from Bristol and going over the other side of the world and creating chaos, and there was murder, there was all sorts going on. Tapping into that time period with such an illustrious director and bringing, for me, the greatest of his generation into that and having him performing it. I am sincerely looking forward to seeing what ensues. And when the details come out about the cast, I'm sure we'll be speaking about it again, because you just know it'll be fucking good. I'm moving on though, once again, to the penultimate topic in the show. What the fuck have I just done there? Let's press that. Is Star Wars being diluted by Disney? Not my words, but the words of Qui-Gon Jinn himself, Liam Neeson. Now this is it's going to be an interesting one. I'm not even going to lie, because it's a single sentence that Liam has uttered out of his mouth. It's been quoted, and it's really just that there in the actual headline. You're diluting the whole thing. I'm going to try and give my opinion on it, whether he's telling the truth or not, because I'm kind of conflicted. I half agree with him, but I also kind of disagree. Incidentally, look at this guy. Is this guy just not winning at life or what? Look at the hair. Barely a line in his face, and he's a good age. He really is doing well. He was speaking with Conan O'Brien, Needs a Friend. I love that podcast, incidentally. I love Conan. What a guy. You speak about charismatic. Conan, your man. What a run he had. Absolutely tremendous talk show presenter, host, and now podcaster. As I says, it was short and sweet. There's so many movies and spin-offs now. I think, no, you're diluting the whole thing. I think my personal thing. I mean, I've read that and I've not even get the actual I get the fucking quote up. Let's bring it up there. There you go. Proof that he did say it. Liam did say these words, I think. Is he right? I'm conflicted because I think he is in a way. Because I think back to my childhood, growing up in the 90s as a young bairn, as we like to say here. Well, I don't, but some people do. As a young kid, with just the original trilogy being a thing, it being a distant memory at that point, people were yearning for more Star Wars. But it was special, man. It was cinematic history, that original trilogy. And even the sort of promotional stuff, the toys and things like that, the merchandising, it had an aura about it. You'd walk into a toy store, I think a Toys R Us in the 90s when I was a kid, and you'd see Star Wars merchandise, you'd see the dolls, the figurines, whatever you want to call them, the ships, and you were awestruck because there wasn't a huge amount of it floating about. I've still got in a fucking cupboard somewhere the Stormtrooper Action Man sort of shit. I kept it. I don't know why. It's battered and bruised and missing parts, but it was Han Solo and Luke Skywalker in the Stormtrooper suits from A New Hope when they go to save obviously Princess Leia. And I was obsessed with those fucking dolls, man. The actual box. I'd go into the shop and just look at it in awe. That's what Star Wars was like 30 years ago. It was special. It had an aura about it, the brand. You then go to the actual prequel trilogy and it still maintained an aura to an extent, but it was diluted slightly at that point. As you can imagine, 3 movies turn into 6 movies. There's more of it. It loses its concentration, in this case, the aura, just the standard that the movies were at. It's diluted somewhat. There was too much merchandising going on. That was the start of it. George actually started this shite 20 odd years ago. You could argue he started it 40 years ago with the originals. So even at that point it was starting to get diluted. And then we go to the Disney era of Star Wars, and you've got even more fucking movies coming out. And now we've got TV shows coming out every 6 months. And not all of them are of a high standard. Certainly most of them nowhere near the standard of the original trilogy. Although I maintain Rogue One is one of the best Star Wars movies ever made. And that was Disney. So, is he right? I think it is being diluted. The brand is certainly diluted. It's nowhere near what it was 30, 40 years ago. It's not like it was when I was a kid and there was an aura around the merchandising and the actual name of Star Wars. Now it's just a run-of-the-mill fucking franchise. And you can get the toys everywhere. And I mean everywhere. Even in cheap, raggedy arse fucking shops, you'll see Star Wars merchandising. That wasn't the case back in my day. In terms of the actual creative output, I would say it's most certainly been diluted. But I'd argue that George Lucas started this process with The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones 20 odd years ago. So it's certainly not a Disney only problem. They did not create this issue. But Star Wars has almost certainly been diluted. When you think of the actual TV side of things, that's where I slightly deviate from Liam Neeson. I think the movies are the big problem. You've churned out those sequel trilogy movies and they are fucking terrible. The acting is terrible. The story is terrible. Shat on the top of the legacy characters. And you've not really brought the story much further forward. You've just regurgitated everything that came in the previous movies to a lower standard. But the TV is where I would definitely deviate, because some of the best Star Wars stuff we've seen has came in these TV shows. Some of the best acting we've seen in Star Wars ever came in Andor, with Luthen, obviously Stellan Skarsgård delivering unbelievable monologues, Andy Serkis, Diego Luna, some tremendous acting in that TV show, tremendous writing, complicated, dense Star Wars storytelling. Look, we've never seen it before. Multiple echelons of the rebellion being shown. That's some of the highest calibre Star Wars content we've ever seen. And I'm enjoying Ahsoka just now, and in actual fact it's Wednesday, so I'm going to watch Ahsoka episode 3 after this. Some of the Star Wars TV content has been fucking top tier, and I actually think that's the future for Star Wars. Long form storytelling on high calibre TV shows. So it has been diluted, but not by the TV, and it's not a Disney only problem. What are your thoughts on Rebel Moon? I'm really looking forward to it, man. I think it looks interesting. It used to be a Star Wars pitch. I think Zack Snyder took it to Lucasfilm Disney. They rejected it. He wanted to make a Star Wars movie. I think it looks interesting. It looks different. There's not enough new sci-fi stuff being broached these days. We're really getting back and adapting stories from 30, 40 years ago. Obviously, Frank Herbert's Dune is top tier, but it's based on a novel. It's out there. We're not seeing a lot of brilliant sci-fi movies being made, least of all on the sort of ambitious scale that Zack Snyder's doing with Rebel Moon. I think it looks fucking decent. Some of the CG though, the visuals, not so great for me. There's some issues with it. You can tell it's been made in Netflix. It's just kind of crummy. But the actual story, the mythology, the sort of world building, it looks top tier, and it's got the stylistic goodness of Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder's a brilliant director. He's got a really unique style, and you can see it. We were talking about him last night. Which one is your favourite, The Dark Knight or The Batman? Oh, I love the two of them. But The Dark Knight. It's got to be The Dark Knight, hasn't it? Batman's brilliant. Really, really enjoyed it. But The Dark Knight for me is in contention for being one of the greatest superhero movies, comic book movies ever made. I've changed that there because Batman's not a superhero. He's not. He's a human with unbelievable technology at his disposal. He's just a human. He's not a superhero. There's nothing super about him. He's just a fucking insanely rich guy. But The Dark Knight, just Heath Ledger, Christian Bale, Gary Oldman, the energy, the atmosphere, the pacing, the score. It's just unbelievable. And I forgot your man as well, played Harvey Dent. Just an incredible, one of the greatest movies ever made for me. So The Dark Knight would be the answer to that. But I love the Batman too. I really do. But yeah, Star Wars. Yeah, it's been diluted, but not by Disney. Well, it has, but George Lucas started it. I'm going to end the show on this little video game topic regarding Starfield. I didn't know this game existed until 3 days ago. I'd heard of Starfield, and it was actually your man who used to work for ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, as a props maker. And I'm forgetting his name, and he is one of the coolest mofos on the planet, man. I just love the guy. I sit and watch all along. I'm going to bring my iPad up because I've not got my phone on me. See if I can actually find him on YouTube, because I watch him that often. He'll probably come up. He's one of the coolest geezers, man. I sit and watch hour-long videos of this guy. I cannot find him. But he was working on a Starfield ship. And that was my first introduction to Starfield. I seen him making this ship with 3, 4, 5 other people. And I'm like, what the fuck is Starfield? Kept seeing it. Then I just stumbled across this when I searched up video game news the other night, and I'm like, fuck me, it's a game. Not only is it a game, but it's coming out this week. In fact, I think the early access starts tomorrow. And it looks epic, man. It's Bethesda, the makers of Skyrim and Oblivion, and all these amazing RPG games, deep games with companions and relationships and stuff like that. Legendary developers. They are behind it. It's space. It looks dense as hell. The customization looks unbelievable. There is limitations, and people are biting away at Xbox and Bethesda for limitations. But man, it looks fucking good. And it's on Game Pass, which I've got. So I'm really looking forward to diving into this week coming. My, man, I am buzzing for it, and I only discovered it 3 days ago. But yeah, it's set to reignite an Xbox PlayStation rivalry. It's not reigniting it, it has ignited it. They are at each other's throats just now. I'm going to discuss this briefly. It's fucking pathetic, man. It really is. It's pathetic. You've got so-called adults arguing with each other on social media over a video game. They're taking pot shots at the video game, trying to find issues with it, all because it's not appearing on a PlayStation, and it's not going to be available for PlayStation players. It's available on Microsoft, obviously on Steam. It's available on the Xbox, you know what I mean? It's available as a PC game, and it's also available on Xbox. But because it's not available to PlayStation, they're going off their fucking heads. And look, vice versa, when Spider-Man 2 comes out, the Xbox fan base will be losing their shit because it's not available on Xbox. It is pathetic, childish, unbelievably childish behaviour from adults. And I was going through social media today just to give myself a little insight into just the level of it. And there's one guy in particular getting off his fucking head because you can't explore a gas giant, to the point where we've now got context added at the bottom of his tweet by Twitter or X saying, look, gas giants, you can't explore them in real life. You don't have a core. And the pressure's unbelievable, and it'd be pitch dark if you went into it. And he's getting off his head, and this guy is just living, this head is living in his head. This game is living in his head, rent-free. That wasn't even English what it says there. And it's just incredible that people lose their fucking collective minds over bollocks like this. It's a video game, man. You either play it or you don't play it. It's on one console, it's not on the other console. Who cares? Who gives a fuck? It's unimportant. It's stupid. And ultimately, PlayStation fans and gamers have got unbelievable access to incredible exclusive games on the Xbox or on the PlayStation. They've got some of the best developers. Naughty Dog, I think, is the ones that do Last of Us. They've just got access to an incredible catalogue of exclusive games. Xbox players, not so much. Microsoft, I've found in the past, are a little bit more generous. They don't tend to restrict their games quite as much. Also, you've got the likes of Halo, Gears of War, I think Forza. The other games that they tend to have, but outside of that, they do tend to be a little bit more generous. They'll put it on PC, Steam, and the Game Pass, which PlayStation doesn't tend to do. Sony don't tend to do that. We've got a remastered Spider-Man game from 5 years ago, now available on Steam, but it wasn't for a long fucking time. So I mean, I'm not going to wade into this. I don't really give a shit about this whole back and forth tit for tat childish bollocks that you see in social media over video games. But yeah, PlayStation fans are not really, they can't sit in their moral high horse and moan about exclusive games and how they can't play it, because they do have the lion's share of exclusive games and really good fucking games at that. So yeah, I mean, as you can see here, there's no outcome that will prevent this tit for tat bollocks, and we're seeing that just now. It's manifesting itself just now, and it's already there. It's either amazing. PlayStation fans will lament that Microsoft is exercising monopolistic rights to keep it away from them, which would be a cheat, as I says, because Sony have built basically their entire brand over the last 10 years on, there's a name for it, first party exclusive video games, incredible storytelling and just brilliant games exclusive to the Sony platform. So yeah, I mean, you can't really talk about Microsoft exercising monopolistic rights when Sony have been doing it for 10 fucking years. So yeah, that's bollocks. If Starfield is merely good, They'll lambast it for being disappointing and not living up to the highly rated games of Bethesda's past. Xbox fans will will do everything possible to say no. It's something to talk about, it's bullshit. I had this with Hogwarts Legacy, man. There was people sniping it, people defending it like it was their personal life ambition to make sure this game was well received, and no, it's very, very good, no matter what. I played Hogwarts Legacy, enjoyed it for about a week. I've not went back to it, man. It was a bit hollow in the end, and I'll readily admit it. But that doesn't give a free pass to people to bring up the whole fucking trans stuff and all of that and attack a video game, because the creator of the actual novels, which is not connected to the video game, it says some things on social media. And as you can see, the final thing, Starfield's bad. They'll feast on it for years and claim it spells the doom of Microsoft's first party ambitions. All in all, man, it is fucking bollocks. People want to grow up. There is more important things in life than video game rivalry. This has been going on for decades, man. I've seen this as long as the internet's been a thing and I've been on it. Nintendo v Xbox v PlayStation, the bickering, even the PC side of things, man. Nvidia v fucking Intel v AMD. It is just mind-numbing, childish bullshit. We should all just celebrate it. I seen one guy tweet that he has got Starfield and he's going to play it on the PC, and he's also got an entire PS5 bundle with Spider-Man 2. And he's like, why can't we just enjoy video games no matter which platform they're on? And he is the wise head in this entire thing. He's absolutely right. If you want to enjoy Starfield, go and play it on PC. If you've not got an Xbox, buy an Xbox and play it on that if you've got to do it. If you want to enjoy all the amazing PlayStation games, go and buy a fucking PlayStation and play it on that. Enjoy all the games. Everyone's a winner, baby. That's the truth. But yes, let me round it up. It just fucking pains me. Physically pains my soul and my brain cells when I see adults arguing over the most inane bollocks imaginable on social media. It's just like they just cannot function as a human being unless they are spouting a sea of shit onto a social media platform. Just step away from it. Step away. But let I digress, let's go around it up, man. What is your thoughts on the topics I touched upon on the show tonight? The Marvel's Runtime has been revealed. It's the shortest in MCU history, 93 minutes long. This is reported, but it's going to be the case. The leak, the sources get previews for getting it bang on. There's a scream down the stair that tells me that a certain football club is losing a game, so I'm going to watch that after this because that makes me happy. Yeah, they've revealed the short runtime. Harry Potter star Bonnie Wright has come out and addressed criticism of her performance as like a 10-year-old fucking actress in the Harry Potter movies. Would you like to see The Cursed Child being adapted to a film franchise? I certainly would. Share your thoughts down below about that, about the Marvel's Runtime. Thoughts about DiCaprio and Scorsese working together once again in a movie called The Wager about mutineers and just murder and all sorts of stuff, accusations. It's a period piece about shipwrecks and shit like that. Enjoy if you will, dislike if you won't, comment down below, share your thoughts on it. Star Wars, has it been diluted? Starfield, the game, the bickering, console sort of wars, and yeah, just division. Share your thoughts on anything you feel compelled to share. Down below in the comment section is the place to put your thoughts. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to get notifications straight to your eyeballs. Do the same thing over in Twitch, follow button, notifications button over there to see the same content on a completely different platform. I don't know why you do it, but look, if you're on Twitch, then thank you for fucking watching. I've not actually checked to see if there's anything over there. I don't think there is. If you're watching over there, yeah, hit the follow button. We're on Spotify podcasts as well for an audio setup. If you enjoy audio content, you like this kind of thing, you'll not hear me doing solo stuff because we tend to keep the solo shit out because it's just me talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. I do that on the actual joint shows with Stephen, but at least there's another voice and we actually have conversations, which is more, I mean, it's better for audio content. But we're on Spotify podcasts, so go over there and follow and like the episodes if you're enjoying it over there as well. All that's left to be said though is until the next time, thank you for coming in and commenting. Schlock. Thank you for watching, and until the next time, I am done.